Hello, good afternoon. You've tuned into Your Stocks, coming in live from CNBC-TV18 Motilal Oswal Studios. I'm Vinny Motiwala. Thank you so much for tuning in as always. And markets also a pretty picture coming in right now on the screen. And we're seeing a bit of a jump up coming in for the markets. Nifty is trading with gains of almost 0.5%. We're seeing the sensex, mid-cap, as well as the bank Nifty managing to hold on to good gains. Look at the Nifty. It's coming almost back to those near those days high level as of now for the Nifty 50. In terms of the Nifty mid and small cap also, they are outperforming today the benchmark indices. So yes, Nifty mid cap and small cap have picked up some bit of a pace as well. Nifty mid cap is up 0.7%, small cap is up 0.8% in today's trading session. Nifty bank is where the outperformance is coming in from. And in terms of some of these gainers that we've seen in the last 1 hour, let's pull up HEG. That's gained almost 1-2% in trade as well. So that is something interesting to watch out for in terms of HEG as a stock move, and especially in the last 1 hour, we've seen that some bit of an up move there. Other than that, we have Manappuram Finance also, as well as the Rainbow Children Hospital. That is also managing to see some bit of a pickup in the last hour of trading session, last 1 hour of the trading session. So keep an eye out on that. You can see the spike up, like I said, in Manappuram Finance as well, moved up to the green side. So let's see whether this is going to be sustaining. But yes, that's how the market setup is looking like. But this is a show where we solve all your stock-related queries. And for that, we do have Ruchit Jain of Motilal Oswal Financial Services joining in with us, and we will be joined by Gaurang also a short while from now as well. But Ruchit, good afternoon, and thank you so much as always for joining in with us. Monday surely is looking exciting for the markets. Any thoughts in terms of the levels that we should keep an eye out on? Is this sustainable? Or, maybe again tomorrow is going to be a day where we see the fall coming in and the whole week is gone in the red then?
Yeah, hi, very good afternoon, Vinny. Well, Vinny, if you see the last few trading sessions, the markets have seen some consolidation on the index front. The level that we are watching for is the 20-day exponential moving average, which has not been surpassed since 12th of February. So almost more than a month that the markets have, the Nifty has traded below its 20-day MA, which is now around 22,620. So it needs to surpass that 22,620 mark for a deeper pullback move to happen. So I think overall the near-term trend remains sideways, and 22,620 is the immediate hurdle which needs to be surpassed for any kind of up move to come in the Nifty.
Okay. Ruchit, on that note, let's get started. The queries coming in as well. And the first one is for Ola Electric. We have Prasanna now writing to us from Hyderabad. He's holding 2,500 shares of Ola Electric. This is at a price of 76 rupees per share. Wants to know whether to continue to hold this, look to sell, or at current levels. What's your view coming in on this? Ruchit, especially today also, we are seeing that news flow coming in where one of its vendors also has filed, for an insolvency plea for Ola Electric. So, on that front, the stock also hit a 52-week low today. Concerns are not stopping for Ola Electric. On the charts, what is it that you are seeing and understanding?
So there's limited historical data since not much time that the stock has listed, but definitely after listing, the stock has consistently formed that lower top, lower bottom structure, and the technical trend is still not positive. Difficult to give any support levels, so I won't advise to do any kind of averaging strategy over here since the trend still remains down. But yes, the momentum readings are a bit oversold. So in case if we get any pullback moves, take a review again. If we get pullback towards 58 to 60 kind of the range where next resistance for the stock is placed. So I won't advise to do any kind of averaging, but maybe sell and buy strategy could be kept in the stock.
Okay, yeah, maybe not enough data to judge, but as of now, at least averaging is out of the option. Do not look at that. Maybe sell on rise is what Ruchit is suggesting as an option coming in for the stock. That's Ola Electric. Today, as of now, is down 7% in trade. Let's move on to the next query. We have this is on IREDA. So this is coming in from Riju Srivastav. He's writing to us from Indore. 70 shares of IREDA they're holding. This is at a price of 130 rupees is the buy price. Currently, the stock is at 140 rupees. So making some bit of the profit on this one. Overall, in the prospects of the company, IREDA, how is this stock looking on the charts to you? What are we watching out for in terms of levels? And, should the viewer follow a strategy of maybe adding some more? Or, what are we watching out for? Last 6 months, 38% decline. And now, what's the trajectory you have here?
So certainly, along with the broader markets and most of the PSU names, the stock has also corrected. I think in the month of July 24, the stock made a high somewhere around 300 levels, and it's down by 50% from more than 50% in fact from that highs. But the good thing is the buy price that it is not at that higher levels, and on the weekly chart, the support for the stock is coming around 125, not much below the original buy price. So I would recommend to continue to hold on and have some patience. Maybe this is a stock which one should not look from a very short-term perspective because the momentum is not there for the near term. But definitely considering, if you have vision for a bit mid to longer term, then you should continue to hold on to the stock. 125 is a good support where you can consider adding more if you wish to.
Okay, keep an eye out on those support levels as well. That's interesting to watch out for. Let's move on to the next query then for today. This one is coming in from Akshay, who's writing to us from Bangalore, holding 750 shares of Tata Power. This is at a price of 389 rupees per share. Currently, the stock is trading at 351. So they're making some bit of a loss on this one. Overall in Q3 also the performance was largely revenues was below, but EBITDA and the profits of the company was something that had done well. Ruchit, overall when we're looking at a stock move right now that is coming in for Tata Power, specifically in the last 1-2 months, 6 months, let's look at that, right? It's down 21%. And this fall has continued for some time. So Tata Power, does it become interesting on the charts? And as a long term, if the viewer is holding it for the long term, what are the levels they should keep an eye out on?
The stock is very important support around 330 to 320 range. And since the price rise, we have already seen a corrective phase from the highs of around 500. The price rise downside seems to be very limited here on. We could see some time-wise correction, which we have been witnessing since last couple of weeks. If you look at the volumes in last couple of weeks, we have not seen any high volumes coming in the stock. So possibility of some time-wise correction is there where the stock would consolidate within the broad range of 320, 330 on the lower side and 380 to 400 on the higher side. But yes, if you have a positions from a bit mid to long-term perspective, and since the price-wise correction has already been done, I think it's better to have some patience and continue to ride this trend.
Patience and continue to ride the trend. That's the word coming in from Ruchit on Tata Power. Gaurang Shah is also joining in with us from Geojit Financial Services. Now, Gaurang, good afternoon. I would also like your view coming in on Tata Power. The viewer has bought this at a price of around 389 rupees. And overall, for the long-term perspective on the fundamentals, Tata Power continues to be a good bet?
First of all, thank you, Vinny, for having me on this platform. Good afternoon to everyone. Apologies, Vinny, I had some connectivity issue. I got at some problem because of the Wi-Fi. On Tata Power, well, at Geojit Financial Services, we remain extremely positive on the entire power generation, power transmission, power distribution, and power ancillary pack. On Tata Power specifically, we've been maintaining a positive view for a very long time. And if I'm not mistaken, our targets are somewhere close to about 450. But I'm quite sure in the coming future, earnings will definitely encourage us to move our target upwards. So currently we have a buy and a hold on Tata Power.
Okay, buy and a hold on Tata Power. That's the view coming in from Gaurang. Let's move on to the next query. IDFC First Bank. Now, Chandan is writing to us from Visakhapatnam. 200 shares of IDFC First Bank, price of 81 rupees per share. Currently is what he's holding it at, so making some bit of a loss on this one. Whether he should hold this counter or look to exit this one. Ruchit, your view coming in on the technicals first for IDFC First Bank. The stock has been falling in the last 6 months, last 1 year also. We're seeing the decline. Your thoughts?
So if I compare this stock with other stocks within the banking space, then it has been an underperformer within the banking space. So technically, the trend still remains negative, although the momentum readings are oversold, and hence we could see some in-between pullback moves. But I would recommend to shift to some other private sector names such as Kotak Bank, maybe, which is looking quite positive, where the stock has given a breakout after about 4 years of consolidation phase. So I think even ICICI Bank, to an extent, looks that downside seems to be very limited over here. So I think since this has been an underperformer, there are no signs of reversals as of now. So if he's looking for midterm perspective, then Kotak Bank maybe is a better option rather than IDFC Bank to shift it.
Absolutely. Kotak is a better option than IDFC First Bank. Gaurang, your view on the fundamentals for IDFC First Bank. Would you also suggest maybe moving out of IDFC First Bank and looking at another bank? Or would you suggest the viewer to continue to hold this one?
Vinny, I think it's prudent to understand why this underperformance. And if you're a long-term investor, Vinny, our sense is that first of all, stay invested in IDFC First Bank. Sub 50, your downside is extremely protected, and that's somewhere around 50 is where the stock is trading right now. Now, why this underperformance was primarily because of the stress on balance sheet in terms of the MFI exposure, which of course the management was vocal enough post second and third quarter. And the management is also guided that in the fourth quarter, they expect this problems related to the MFI segment to get subdued. And in the new financial year, possibly they'll get back onto the path of growth trajectory. We're maintaining an accumulate stance on IDFC First Bank. So if you've gotten at higher level, I think these are possibly comfort zones wherein you can add more if somebody wants to invest fresh. We would advise that. Our targets are 71 on IDFC First Bank, long-term fundamental.
Okay, keep an eye out on those levels. Good bet on the long term is what Gaurang is saying. But on that note, we're actually going to slip into a very short break, viewers. But here's some good news coming in for y'all. India's business news leader is now a click away, introducing CNBC TV18's all-new app. Get instant access to breaking news, in-depth articles and financial world updates at your fingertips. Download the CNBC TV18 app from Apple Store or Google Play Store, or just scan the QR code on your screen. Welcome back to Your Stocks on CNBC TV18. We still have with us Ruchit Jain of Motilal Oswal Financial Services and Gaurang Shah of Geojit Financial Services to solve all your stock-related queries. Let's move on and talk about the next query for today, and this one is on KPIT Tech. Narasimha is writing to us from Hyderabad, holding 250 shares of KPIT Tech at a price of 1,558 rupees. Wants to know the outlook on the stock for the long term for this one, and currently making some bit of a loss on this one. Gaurang, your view for this stock, KPIT Tech, mid-cap IT name. In the past we've seen that very, very sharp run-up. Numbers were very good. But IT as a story now, and KPIT Tech specifically, how are you seeing this move, Gaurang?
So, Vinny, I would not hesitate to say that this is one of the consistent performers when it comes to small stroke mid-cap IT names. There has been problem with the Indian IT sector with the kind of statements that have been coming out from the US with respect to tariffs, budgetary cuts, IT spend getting a backseat, etc., etc. But even in that kind of a scenario, even if you look at it today, KPIT Tech is, I think, smartly up plus 3%. All-time high was somewhere close to about 2,000 rupees, if I'm not mistaken, and if my memory serves me right. We have a buy recommendation on KPIT Tech. Now, if you did invest in KPIT at 1,500 plus, I don't see any reason why you should hesitate to invest at current levels of 1,250 or thereabouts. So hold on to it. If you have investable amount, you can average. If somebody wants to make a fresh long-term investment, we would recommend that. Our target is 1,760 on fundamental long term.
Okay, 1,760 on fundamental long term. And yeah, the highest that it had been was around 1,928. So yes, close to the 2,000 mark is what we were watching out for. Ruchit, your view coming in on the technicals, after hitting those highs, which I was just talking about, somewhere around in June and September times when we saw it moving. After that, we've seen that some bit of a fall that has come in for KPIT Tech since September, October. Now, what are the levels that you are keeping an eye out on the technicals? And would you also suggest that maybe the viewer could add some more in for a long-term story?
I think it's one can keep holding the existing positions if he's a long-term investor. Although prices have seen a correction, but if I just look at the historical data and post that COVID rally, which we had seen, the stock has not breached its weekly 200 EMA even once. And that weekly 200 EMA is now placed somewhere around 1,060 to 1,100, around 1,100 kind of levels. So I think, considering that the price-wise downside seems to be very limited from here on, So I think at current levels or maybe on some dip if we get in the short term, because of that fall that we are witnessing in most of the IT names, then you can look to add more positions at lower levels. But these are not the levels where you should worry much and look to book any kind of losses on existing positions. So continue to hold the existing positions, and any kind of dips if we get towards that maybe 1100, 1150, that would be a good range, to add more positions over there.
Okay, let's move on to the next query then. L&T, this is the stock we'll talk about. Ruchit Jain is writing to us from Mumbai. Holding 300 shares of L&T. This is at a price of 2,585 rupees per share. Long-term investor wants to know whether to continue to hold this one or look to sell this one. Gaurang, L&T, your view?
This has been one of the greatest wealth creators, according to my understanding, and has been one of the most investor-friendly companies, Vinny. We've been maintaining a positive stance on L&T for a very, very long time. Our targets on the fundamental side stands somewhere close to about 4,200, close to about 4,200. The good part about this investment is the level of investment. I think it's a very decent, safe, if I can say, use that word, in terms of investment, 2,500 or thereabouts. So no need to rush in, book out. If you're a long-term investor, stay invested. And I think on performance, Vinny, if the earnings are better than expected, we expect cap goods engineering to do well. And L&T is a flagship company in that particular sector. So hold on with a long-term target of somewhere close to 4,200.
Absolutely. Keep an eye out on those levels. Ruchit, what are the levels that you're keeping an eye out on, and would your view also be hold for the viewer?
Yes, I completely agree and have a similar view that no one should hold on if he's a long-term investor in the stock. If we look at the bit positional charts, then the stock has already seen a good time-wise corrective phase in last 1.5 years. And 3,000, 2,900 is a very strong support zone even on a longer-term chart. So downside seems to be very limited on here on. And even in this time-wise corrective phase, the stock is now trading around the lower end. That is the support end of this entire corrective phase. So continue to hold on. At least from a near-term perspective, one can expect a pullback move towards somewhere around 3,450 to 3,500 kind of range. But even the long-term charts are still positive, and hence I would advise to continue to hold on the existing positions.
Okay, let's move on to the next query. And this one is from Vijay Javedkar, who's writing to us from New Delhi. 3,500 shares of ITC they're holding. Price is 207. So yes, they've been holding in and they've got a good run up. Stock price is currently at 408. Wants to know, should he continue to hold this one or exit this one? Gaurang, your view on ITC, given that they're making such a good profit, at least some bit of that benefit, should they take or continue to hold this?
Well, that's the big billion-dollar question, really, because people in stock market don't have enough of enough. Even if they make 2x money, the way this investor is making, he bought in at about 205, 210. ITC trading at about 408 or 410. We've seen a higher level of 550, if I'm not mistaken. Correct me if I'm wrong. So, as a disclosure, Vinny, we have a positive coverage on ITC as well from a long-term point of view. Hotel business got listed as a separate entity. Currently, we have a target of somewhere close to about 450. So, and again, the best part about this investment is the investment price of about 205, which is, according to me, again, a very, very comfortable zone to stay invested from a long-term point of view. So, if you're not not in need of money, stay invested. 450 is the target, as I mentioned, long-term.
Okay. And Ruchit, your view coming in on this one, would you also tell the viewer to continue to hold or maybe get some money out? Other things are becoming valuable as well. Look at that also.
Well, these are not the levels where one should look to exit from ITC. So definitely hold on the existing position. And the good thing is the margin of safety, yes. Even the corrective phase on a longer term chart, the support base is around 370, 380, which is much higher than his buy price. So I think, yes, since he's a long-term investor, the buy price is good. The price-wise correction has been done. So downside seems to limited from here on. So continue to hold on the positions.
Okay, continue to hold on to your positions at ITC. That's a view coming in from both our experts for today. Let's move on to the next query. Raghav Mohan is writing to us from Shimla, and this one is on Metro Brands. 10 shares of Metro Brands, price is 1,150 rupees per share. What is the outlook on this stock on the technicals, Ruchit? What are we watching out for? Obviously, around the buy price only. So what should they be doing with this now?
The short-term trend is not that positive for the stock. There has been a low top, low bottom structure, and the previous swing lows are somewhere around 1,000 rupees. So I think any kind of pullback move towards 1130, 1150, maybe this is where the immediate resistance would be placed, where one can look to exit the existing position. So 1130 to 1000, I think this is a broad range where we should see some consolidation in the stock for a few months.
Okay. So that was actually the last query for today. So thank you so much, Ruchit, as well as Gaurang, for joining in with us and helping our viewers solve all their stock-related queries. And with that, we're absolutely out of time, leaving the Nifty with gains of 0.5% in trade. But with that closing bell, we'll take the action forward. So don't go anywhere.